For today's history video, I'd like to go back to 1960 and talk about the first television debate of presidential candidates and how Kennedy finessed Nixon in that debate. The material in this is elaborated in a wonderful book by Chris Matthews, Kennedy versus Nixon. As they approached the debate, which was the first televised debate, Nixon had injured himself. He'd banged his knee on a car door, and it became infected and became he ran a fever and a fairly severe illness. And in fact, he had to go into the hospital for a while. And he lost a lot of weight recovering, and his suits were baggy on him, particularly around the neck. And he was pale, having been in the hospital. And when he got out of the hospital before the debate, a few days before or a week before, he ran all over the country to try to make up lost ground from the places he hadn't been in his campaign. Kennedy, in the meantime, went to Palm Beach, where he had a home, and sunned himself and rested himself and got a lot of sleep. And we now know from his Dr. Feelgood doctor a lot of steroids and uppers, amphetamines, and walked into the studio very tan and very confident. Now, Kennedy laid a trap for Nixon, because when he debated Hubert Humphrey in the primaries, the Humphrey wore makeup, which was very unusual for a man in those days, even on television. And Kennedy knew that Nixon was homophobic. So Kennedy went around the Senate cloakrooms. Kennedy and Humphrey were both senators, and Nixon, as vice president, was there all the time. And he said, hey, when I debated Hubert, he wore makeup. And Humphrey at the time was thought to be, quote, light in the loafers, unquote, meaning gay, when that was not acceptable. Humphrey was married and children and all that, but there were rumors, locker room rumors about it. And as a result, everybody was laughing at Humphrey and chortling that he wore makeup, and that got back to Nixon. Kennedy knew that it would. So when they showed up for the debate, Kennedy came in confident and handsome and tan, and Nixon came in haggard and gaunt. And they said, Senator Kennedy, would you like makeup? And he said, makeup? Are you kidding? No makeup for me. And then when they came to Nixon, he was embarrassed, and he recalled the Humphrey stuff, and he said, oh, no makeup for me, no makeup. And as a result, the visual contrast between the two of them was astonishing. Nixon had a 5 o'clock beard shadow, haggard, pale. Kennedy was youthful, exuberant, confident. In fact, the opposite was true. Kennedy was incredibly sickly, with a permanent deficiency of the thalamus gland, I believe, and he was the one that was sickly. Nixon was quite robust and quite healthy, but at the moment not. And the people who saw the debate on TV, which included me at the age of 12, felt that Kennedy won. But those who heard it on radio, which was still a large portion of the vote, felt that Nixon won. And it was a fascinating example of stagecraft in American politics. By the way, I'm doing a new thing, a podcast, where every week I do a fairly detailed, extensive view of the election and of the issues in our politics, more than I can do in just these 5-minute lunch alerts. And so if you're real junkies and you want to listen to it, it's a lot of fun. Just click on the podcast link on the email attached to this video. I'm doing a new one on Monday, and it's going to focus specifically on what the long-term damage to the Democratic Party will be from the Sanders-Hillary race, and of course the long-term damage to Hillary herself. But it'll be fascinating, so please give it a listen. Thanks.